2016's Deadpool was an unprecedented success for a variety of reasons. Given that it was an R-rated movie, it wasn't necessarily expected to compete with other comic book movies in terms of commercial success. Like any comic book movie, one of the coolest things about it was the number of fun Easter eggs and references it included. And that's what this video is all about. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It's the best way of keeping up to date with all of Screen Rant's great new videos.
Big house. It's funny that I only ever see two of you. It's almost like the studio couldn't afford another X-Man.
The Fox logo. Right off the bat, Deadpool was full of fun things for fans to spot, but they started even before the credits began to roll. In the X-Men franchise, it's become something of a tradition for the X in the Fox logo to stay lit up for a moment at the end of the opening fanfare. The same thing happened in Fantastic Four, only with the F, incidentally, so it's certainly noticeable and definitely intentional for that to not happen prior to the start of Deadpool. The movie is only barely linked to the main X-Men continuity to begin with, and the fact that the X in the Fox logo wasn't highlighted really did make a point of emphasizing that it's meant to be a separate entity to its mutant showcasing sister franchise.
Fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break. That's like 16 walls.
The opening credits. The opening credits of Deadpool were a plethora of Easter eggs and fun things for fans to spot. It started off being described as some douchebag's film, and the credits followed. Ryan Reynolds was credited as being God's perfect idiot. Morena Baccarin was credited as being a hot chick. Ed Skrein credited as being a British villain. Brianna Hildebrand was credited as being a moody teen. Stefan Kapicic was credited as being an entirely CGI character. Stan Lee was credited as being a gratuitous cameo. The producers were credited as being asshats. It was described as being written by the real heroes, and the director, Tim Miller, was credited as being some overpaid tool. Other fun things to look out for included Ryan Reynolds as the sexiest man alive on the cover of a People magazine, a Green Lantern on a collectible card, and a tube of Hello Kitty lip balm. Funny stuff, we're sure you all agree.
Nice to see you kept my color scheme when you copied my suit. Am I like your idol?
Never heard of you. I designed this costume myself.
Sure!
Spider-Man. It's fairly common knowledge that Spider-Man was a big influence on the original design of Deadpool. In fact, Deadpool is often credited as being Spider-Man but with guns. So it's no surprise that the Webbed Wonder got a few shoutouts in the Merc with a Mouth's movie. In the scene in which Deadpool had an ill-fated fight with Colossus, there was a sign for a street called Parker Boulevard, which was an obvious nod to Spidey's alter ego, Peter Parker. There was also a scene in which Wade Wilson described himself as looking like he was bitten by a radioactive Shar-Pei. Not only was this an obvious nod to Spider-Man's origins of being bitten by a radioactive spider, but it was also a joke. If you didn't know, a Shar-Pei is a dog with a very scrunched up face. Also, at the end of the movie, Deadpool referred to himself as your friendly neighborhood pool guy, which was a fun take on the name Spider-Man gives himself. And finally, during the animated credits, he attempted to hang from some webbing and fell haplessly.
Local dry cleaning discounts, lucrative film deals, both origin stories and larger ensemble team movies. Con, they're all lame-ass teachers' pets.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Marvel Cinematic Universe obviously has absolutely nothing to do with any of Fox's superhero movies to date, but that didn't stop Deadpool from referencing it and having a number of connections to the more popular franchise. In the movie's big climactic battle scene, Deadpool encountered an old colleague of his named Bob, who was now working as one of Ajax's henchmen. The pair paused fighting for long enough to exchange some pleasantries, with Deadpool asking Bob about his wife and such, and Wade opting to spare him.
How are the kids? Good? And Gail, she's still fixing that tuna casserole? So good. Oh, but bad for the waistline if you know what I'm talking about.
In the comics, we know this person as Bob, agent of Hydra. He's sort of a friendly, humanized flunky of the evil terrorist organization. But Fox doesn't own the movie rights to Hydra. Marvel Studios obviously does. So him being an agent of Ajax will have to do. Deadpool's roommate, Blind Al, also has an MCU connection. In the comics, she was a close friend of Captain America's before he was frozen in the 1940s.
She's like Robin to my Batman, except she's old and black and blind. And I think she's in love with me. Wait, pretty sure Robin loves Batman too.
But the most obvious and surprising MCU connection in Deadpool was that the final battle took place on a decommissioned SHIELD helicarrier. And quite frankly, we have no idea how they got away with that one.
Wow, nice suit. Zip it, Stanley!
Creator nods and cameo. Deadpool was co-created by Fabian Nicieza and Rob Liefeld back in 1991, and the nods to those guys in his movie are plentiful. In the movie's opening credits, there was a coffee cup clearly visible and floating through the air. It was easy to see that the name Rob L was written on the side of it, which was an obvious reference to Liefeld. Moreover, in one scene when Wade Wilson entered his favorite watering hole, he greeted two patrons chilling at the end of the bar. The first one was the big burly Buck, and he was followed by Liefeld, who rather humorously received a much less enthused greeting from Wilson. Liefeld was of course being played by Rob Liefeld himself in a cute little cameo. Additionally, Stan Lee also had a cameo in the movie as a strip club MC, but the Marvel legend actually had no part in Deadpool's creation. When you think of the legend that is Kevin Feige, you tend to think of the Marvel Cinematic Universe rather than any of Fox's Marvel movies. All of that in mind, he earned a nod in the Deadpool movie, and it came in very novel fashion. Early in the movie, Wade Wilson ordered a pizza to a stranger's door in order to assassinate the delivery guy that he was hired to kill, and the pizza's box clearly showed it to have been ordered from famous Feige's. Funny, right?
I can't even tell you. I deserve that. That too. No. Maybe not the nethers.
Start talking!
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Copycat. In Deadpool, the very beautiful Morena Baccarin plays Vanessa Carlyle, an escort who went on to become the titular character's devoted and seemingly insatiable fiancé. Vanessa has no powers in the movie, but in the comics, she's a member of X-Force who possesses both mimicry and shape-shifting powers, and whose super name is Copycat. The quote we're about to refer to is one that you definitely won't have heard in the movie because it was cut from it, but it was certainly in the trailer. The line in question was Vanessa saying,
I've played a lot of roles. Damsel in distress ain't one of them.
This could be classed as an Easter egg regardless of what it meant, but it does actually have two possible meanings. First of all, it could simply have been a nod to her comic book powers, but it could also have been a hint that Baccarin's live-action version of the character actually possesses some hidden abilities. It'll be really cool to find out if it's the latter going forward, especially with the character appearing in Deadpool 2, a movie in which the X-Force team she's a member of in the comics are confirmed to be appearing.
How'd you do that, old man? He didn't activate your collar.
Hello, Sarah. He didn't because I asked him not to. Nicely.
How'd you know my name?
Marrow. When Wade Wilson was in the testing facility to have his cancer cured, there were a number of Easter eggs and interesting things to spot. There were a number of other characters in the facility who were there, and although we didn't get to see too many of them for too long, one of them was very easy to identify. There was a young woman with bony spikes growing out of her back, and she was quite clearly Sarah, who also goes by the name Marrow. This version of the character was obviously very different to the badass and battle-hardened character from the comics, but there's every chance it could have been foreshadowing the character being developed and appearing in the franchise more in the future. That being said, some people thought she would appear as a member of X-Force in this year's Deadpool 2, but that doesn't look like it's happening now.
It's over. Go home. Oh, you're expecting a teaser for Deadpool 2. Well, we don't have that kind of money.
The credits scenes. Given every other Easter egg and fun reference that Deadpool offered, it was no surprise to see a post-credits scene after the movie ended. It was also no surprise to see how quirky it was, as it hilariously referenced one of the best-known, earliest post-credits scenes ever produced. Ryan Reynolds, still dressed as Deadpool, appeared in the scene doing his best impression of Matthew Broderick at the end of 1986's Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He questioned why the audience were still seated in the movie theater and shooed them to go home. But that wasn't the end. Reynolds reappeared to reference Samuel L. Jackson's post-credits appearance in 2008's Iron Man and teased the audience about the appearance of Cable in the Deadpool sequel.
The sequel? We're gonna have Cable. Amazing character. Bionic arm, time travel. We have no idea who we're gonna cast yet, but it could be anybody. Just need a big guy with a flat top. Could be Mel Gibson, Dolph Lundgren, Keira Knightley. She's got range, who knows?
We certainly can't wait to see Cable in the sequel, who of course will be portrayed by Josh Brolin, because the fact that his personality will clash with Deadpool's should make for an awesome dynamic.
Sorry I'm late. I was rounding up all the gluten in the world and launching into space where it can't not hurt us ever again.
Kiss me like you miss me, Red.
And that's the end of our video. Did you enjoy it? What other important details did you notice in Deadpool? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Screen Rant for more great videos like this one. Bye for now.